Okay, this is about sugar. This is nyawschurch@gmail.com. If you want to find our channels, put that whole thing in YouTube or searches. Otherwise, you won't find us because we're buried pretty far down low. We're not liked by a whole lot of people who have power or importance. Not disliked either, but to get higher, we need you to help us. Anyway, this is about sugar. We'll make it as quick as we can. This is really not a good thing. We really shouldn't have it. Sugar, regular sugar. You can see that. Domino, that Di Carlo, whatever it is the name of something associated with Domino sugar, pure cane sugar. You notice it says Yonkers, New York, manufactured by Domino Foods Incorporated. Well, that's interesting because we're in St. Joseph's Hospital, room 5509. No, we're in St. Joseph's Nursing Home, room 5509, on the 5th floor, 127 South Broadway, Yonkers, New York. So that's interesting. But now, you don't want to use sugar. You don't want to drink sodas with sugars in them. If you drink a can of soda every day for a year, you'll gain 10 pounds of fat from that. And if you exercise, you'll still gain weight. Now, instead of sugar, I don't have them right here to show you. I tried to set that up. You don't want to use artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners, most of them either cause cancer or they raise your blood sugar, your blood pressure, and you really don't want to eat them. They tend to cause you to get fatter. There's problems in them. There's all sorts of problems. You can learn about that if you want. We'll talk about it another time. And there's lots of things, alternatives to sugar, honey and maple syrup and all those different things. And maple syrup has some real value if it's real maple syrup, not the fake. And honey has great value, but especially if it's raw honey. If it's not raw, it tends to have been cooked and heated and filtered, and it won't give you any of the health benefits, or very few. However, honey, raw honey, is one of the things that your stomach can absorb without digesting it. So is regular sugar, honey. And doctors and medical people and dietitians who don't really know what they're talking about will tell you honey and sugar are the same thing. That's not true. God gave me the benefits in life of knowing a man named Harry Hersey. We'll talk about him other ways. And he understood more about honey than anyone living. He learned it from I believe, an Oriental man when he was a boy growing up. He had a friend who he knew who was a guru, honey guru from China, and he learned. He's an American boy, but he learned Chinese and everything about honey. He was world's leading expert in honey till he died in an accident. He produced this product that I believe sincerely, and seen many evidences of it, that it will prevent a person from having a heart attack or stroke caused by any kind of a blockage or build up in their arteries. It won't necessarily prevent certain heart diseases, but it will almost for certain keep anyone from having a stroke or a heart attack, either from an aneurysm or from a blocked artery. In my opinion, you can learn for yourself. This is a wonderful thing called this is a product, it's a brand name called Truvia, and it is it is sweet. It's from a natural source. It's not unnatural. And if there's anything wrong with it, so we haven't heard it yet. I haven't noticed it being said yet. But if there is anything wrong with it, that it isn't good for us, it may come out in time. Fortunately, and so it's interesting because it's a plant, grows in South America, maybe elsewhere, called stevia, and the leaf is very, very extremely sweet. See, sugar isn't the only source of sweetness in the world. There are others, like the stevia, but it was never developed because, for whatever reason, but mainly there's reasons that have less to do with your benefit and more to do with others manipulating us and our markets and feeding us something that we shouldn't have been eating the way we were. And then people will tell you about sugar and say, like brown sugar and all these other kinds of sugar. And you got to be very careful. You go to the grocery store and pick up any boxes of brown sugar and look and look and look till you find the ingredients, and it will say ingredients, sugar and caramel coloring or some kind of coloring to make it look like it's brown, and it's just the same sugar here. It might be processed differently, seem different, but it's the same thing. And that's really, really bad, because if you could get some of the brown sugars and dark brown sugars, they have a little nutrition in them. Molasses probably does, but they also all have a lot of sugar. And now this I like this particular brand of stevia. I've tried several, and this to me is it's in packs. I buy it at the ShopRite store when it's on sale. I get a pretty good price for the packs, but it's still overall more expensive than the other sweeteners that I'm aware of. But this brand Truvia has no calories. As far as we know, it doesn't raise blood sugar, and this is a container of it where you can pick it out with a spoon. Now this is the same as what's in the packs, and it has these other ingredients. It has erythritol, and the stevia itself, it would be it's so sweet, so very, very sweet in its natural state, processed from the leaf, that you wouldn't see the amount you would need to make something sweet that a whole pack of sugar would do. But so they have to put they generally have to put a filler in it, or they used to have, first they came out with liquids because they mixed it with liquids, drops, and now they get these powders. I'm so grateful to that, because it is probably going to save my life. Why? Because I like sweets. I really like sweets. And so I thought all my life that I like sugar. I need sugar for sweets, but I don't need sugar for sweets. I can use stevia, and this is another version, stevia in the raw. I'm just showing this to you so you see that it comes in packets. This is different than Truvia, because the ingredients here are maltodextrin and stevia leaf extract. But this also says there's no calories, but the sugar is less than 0.5 grams. I don't know what this says because you can't read it too well. This one doesn't even have sugars listed on it at all. So I'm going to guess from that, but erythritol is a carbohydrate, so that might be a sugar. But I'm going to guess that, we know maltodextrin means the dextrin part, malto, we know that's a sweetener. We don't know what it is. We know some of the artificial sweeteners have combinations of maltodextrin and other things. And many years ago, they started using maltodextrin as an alternative to sugar in many ingredients and things that we eat. But stevia in the raw, you can go to Walmart and buy a bag like this for $2 less than usually you can find stevia in the raw there or anywhere else. So it's not that expensive, but I don't know what the Walmart version is like. I won't speak bad about Walmart because I once knew the man who owned the store, started it. I talked to him a little. I'll tell you about that another time. But I don't speak well of Walmart because I know what they do and how they operate. And people tell me that Mr. Sam Walton was a Christian, and I don't know. I don't know if anyone's a Christian or not. I hope I am. I believe I am. I understand what makes a Christian. But I also met Mr. Kresge, who was who Kmart's is listed after, and I met him when I was around 11 or 10 or 11 in White Plains, New York. If I'm right now, if I'm wrong, it's because I remember that and it didn't happen, or someone was presented it to me as the owner of the store in a Kresge store that is no longer there. Now they have the Kmart's, and Kresge and Walton and Target. I don't know who started Target. I don't know enough about that. But all three of those stores were started around the same time, around 35, whatever. It was very close to their starting. The stores out in the shopping centers with cars parked. They eat. I don't know Target, but Kmart and Sam Walton and Sam's and all those stores were all little 5 and dime type stores first for a long time, following Mr. Woolworth. Now he either was a very wonderful Christian man, or he followed Christian ideas, so he never was in debt. He built his huge building in New York City down near City Hall, and he paid cash for it. And the thing is, go there and see it. It's gold plated inside. I mean, it wasn't an cheap building to put up, but he paid for it in cash, which that in itself was a news story and popular. But here you go. There's sugar. There's sweetener, and in time I'll explain to you how I'm very careful to try and use stevia. I mean, if I wanted to make cocoa, which I really don't want to make, I would figure out the right amounts, and I would use one of the cocos, and I would use Truvia as my sweetener, and I would get, I wouldn't like to do this, but I'd probably use powdered milk and mix it all together in a dry container, and then I would use that to make my hot cocoa with, because I wouldn't use any hot cocoa mix that is sold, because it has all this other stuff in it, really dangerous foods, and cocoa's. None of these things that I'm mentioning are dangerous except for the powdered milk. Pasteurized milk, dried milks are all have a suggestion to some of us that they might be dangerous. I'm certain they are, having read into it and looked at. Oh, here you go. Here's none of the other ones. There's a Sweet and Low, but real nice. They don't make it the same now as they used to, because I read it when I was young, and I don't remember exactly, but I know the ingredients, at least in my memory, are different. And it says every 0-calorie sweetener, but if you look into it and look at the people who will speak about it, it still has saccharin and nutritive sweet dextrose. Dextrose is another form of sugar with a different name, but calcium silicate. You don't want to use sweetener. You definitely don't want to eat anything that has Splendor in it, or any of the ingredients that make Splendor. That will raise your blood pressure, and it will create other problems. Who knows what they are? But I'll tell you, now I'm in this nursing home, and they feed me a diet here that is so unhealthy that it forces me to have high blood pressure, because doctors and the people under the doctors, they have no idea how to eat right. They have very little idea. If they did, they wouldn't eat what they do, and they certainly wouldn't put all that food in nursing homes and hospitals for patients. But I'll tell you, if you eat the American diet, it's killing you as you're eating it. You just don't notice, because it's slow acting the way it kills you. And that's what I think. I hope you think something different. God bless you. Look us up, connect with us, and we'll pay you money. Thank you. Bye. Love you.